The benefits of education and of useful knowledge, generally diffused through a community, are essential to the preservation of a free government.
If a free society cannot help the many who are poor, it cannot save the few who are rich. The democratic promise of equal educational opportunity, half fulfilled, is worse than a promise broken. It is an ideal betrayed. It is incompatible with a democracy to train the many and educate the few.
Liberty cannot be preserved without general knowledge among the people.
Freedom to think, which means nothing unless it means freedom to think differently, can be society's most precious gift to itself. The first duty of a school is to defend and cherish it.
What greater or better gift can we offer the Republic than to teach and instruct our youth?
The main hope of a nation lies in the proper education of its youth.
Public education is the link between our nation and our dream of liberty and justice for all.
There is an old saying that the course of civilization is a race between catastrophe and education. In a democracy such as ours, we must make sure that education wins the race.
Persevere. Persevere. Nothing worthwhile is easy. Not one achievement has avoided failure. Sometimes catastrophic failures. But they keep at it. They learn from mistakes. They don't quit.
Democratic communities help students to be as well as to become.
Upon the subject of education, I can only say that I view it as the most important subject, which we as a people must be engaged in.
Upon the education of the people of this country, the fate of this country depends.
A good school is the price of peace in the community.
In its education, the soul of the people mirrors itself.
The ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security of all.
Knowledge is the most democratic source of power.
Which government is the best? The one that teaches us to govern ourselves.
There are obvious places in which government can narrow the chasm between haves and have-nots. One is the public schools, which have been seen as the great leveler. The authentic melting pot.
Only the curious will learn, and only the resolute overcome the obstacles to learning. The quotient quest has always excited me, more than the intelligence quotient.
The essence of learning is the ability to manage change by changing yourself. You don't understand anything until you learn it more than one way.
Even without success, creative persons find joy in a job well done. Learning for its own sake is rewarding.
The wisest mind has something yet to learn.
The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Learning is a social process that occurs through interpersonal interaction within a cooperative context. Individuals, working together, construct shared understandings and knowledge. Learning is often spoken of as if we were watching the open pages of all the books which we have ever read, and then, when occasion arises, we select the right page to read aloud to the universe.
For many, learning is a spiral, where important themes are visited again and again throughout life, each time at a deeper, more penetrating level. Learn with understanding, find out what you already know, and you will see the way to fly.
One must learn by doing the thing, for though you think you know it, you have no certainty until you try. In its broadest sense, learning can be defined as a process of progressive change from ignorance to knowledge, from inability to competence, and from indifference to understanding.
Education is a lifelong process of which schooling is only a small but necessary part. As long as one remains alive and healthy, learning can go on, and should.
Learning is always rebellion. Every bit of new truth discovered is revolutionary to what was believed before.
That is the essence of science. Ask an impertinent question, and you are on the way to a pertinent answer.
The ability to think straight, some knowledge of the past, some vision of the future, some urge to fit that service into the well-being of the community, these are the most vital things education must try to produce.
We teachers can only help the work going on, as servants wait upon a master.
The educator must above all understand how to wait, to reckon all effects in the light of the future, not of the present.
Education, whether its object be children or adults, individuals, or an entire people, consists in creating motives.
The greatest sign of success for a teacher is to be able to say, "The children are now working, as if I did not exist." I feel as though teaching is 10% inspiration and 90% divine call. Without that, the patience, perseverance, and energy that teaching requires of you would disappear with the shadow of the coming school year in August.
Always in our presentation, we must give something which does not exceed the child's powers, and yet at the same time calls forth effort.
To be able to be caught up into the world of thought, that is educated.
The best educated human being is the one who understands most about the life in which he is placed.
I was brought up to believe that the only thing worth doing was to add to the sum of accurate information in the world.
I see the mind of the 5-year-old as a volcano, with two vents, destructiveness and creativeness.
The first idea that the child must acquire, in order to be actively disciplined, is that of the difference between good and evil. And the task of the educator lies in seeing that the child does not confound good with immobility, and evil with activity.
Loving a child doesn't mean giving in to all his whims. To love him is to bring out the best in him, to teach him to love what is difficult. What office is there which involves more responsibility, which requires more qualifications, which ought, therefore, to be more honorable than that of teaching?
For more motivational teaching quotes, please like, share and subscribe. Words matter. Spoken quotes, spoken words.
The one exclusive sign of thorough knowledge is the power of teaching.
Among the many purposes of schooling, four stand out to us as having special moral value: to love and care, to serve, to empower and, of course, to learn.
To me, the sole hope of human salvation lies in teaching.
Better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with a great teacher.
There's no word in the language I revere more than teacher. My heart sings when a kid refers to me as his teacher, and it always has. I've honored myself and the entire family of man by becoming a teacher. We cannot enter a learning society, an education age, without giving teachers the recognition they deserve.
Teaching is a calling, not a choice.
Education's purpose is to replace an empty mind with an open one. Events in our classrooms today will prompt world events tomorrow.
The principal goal of education is to create men who are capable of doing new things, not simply of repeating what other generations have done, men who are creative, inventive, and discoverers.
Education is not merely a means for earning a living or an instrument for the acquisition of wealth. It is an initiation into life of spirit, a training of the human soul in the pursuit of truth and the practice of virtue.
Education is the point at which we decide whether we love the world enough to assume responsibility for it.
Education is a progressive discovery of our own ignorance. Education is not a preparation for life, education is life itself. Education is the art of making man ethical. Education is a specifically human activity. Unlike other animals, man inherits something over and above what is transmitted to him automatically by physical and psychic heredity.
Education is the jewel casting brilliance into the future.
We are born weak, we have need of help, we are born destitute of everything, we stand in need of assistance, we are born stupid, we have need of understanding. All that we are not possessed of at our birth, and which we require when we grow up, is bestowed on us by education.
Education is light, lack of it darkness. An age is called dark not because the light fails to shine, but because people refuse to see it. Knowledge is the antidote to fear.
Education is the mother and the father. The paradox of education is precisely this, that as one begins to become conscious, one begins to examine the society in which he is being educated.
Let us think of education as the means of developing our greatest abilities, because in each of us there is a private hope and dream which, fulfilled, can be translated into benefit for everyone and greater strength for our nation.
For more education quotes, please.
The best teachers are those who show you where to look but don't tell you what to see.
A good teacher is never done with their preparation, grading, evaluations, planning, because they are always trying to reinvent, improve, and inspire.
The fact that you worry about being a good teacher means that you already are one.
We make the road, others will make the journey. Teachers are more than any other class, the best guardians of civilization.
Your heart is slightly larger than the average human heart, but that's because you're a teacher.
Teaching gives me a greater sense of my own humanity. Teachers can change lives with the right mix of chalk and challenges.
Teachers teach because they care. teaching young people is what they do best. It requires long hours, patience, and care.
If you have to put someone on a pedestal, put teachers. They are society's heroes.
A teacher's job is to take a bunch of live wires and see that they are well grounded. The true teacher defends his pupils against his own personal influence.
Good teaching is 1/4 preparation and 3/4 theater.
Who dares to teach, must never cease to learn.
Teachers have 3 loves: love of learning, love of learners, and the love of bringing the first 2 loves together.
Students don't care how much you know, until they know how much you care.
For more teacher quotes, please like, share, and subscribe.